You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Glad you could join me here today on this Motivation and Mindset Monday. We're going to be exploring one of my favorite topics, and that is not just goal setting, but goal achievement. It's one thing to set goals. Lots of people have goals, lots of people have dreams, but how many of those hopes and goals and dreams actually come true? Well, there is actually a formula that you can use that will supercharge your success with achieving those goals. I want to go through that today. It is not difficult. I talk about it every December on the way to be able to create those New Year goals. But the reason I bring it up today is simply put, we are 6 months through the year, right? We're halfway through the year, a little bit more than that. So if we look at it and we start to look back, which I want you to do today, we can begin to see what goals did we set for ourselves, if any, and I hope that you did, last December or last January, and where are you today on the path to achieving those? Now, if you haven't come close yet, or you haven't even looked back to see what your goals were back then, I don't want you to beat yourself up about it. It's really looking back and dwelling on what you didn't do, what you could have done, what you should have done, if this, if that. None of that leads to anything constructive or anything productive, and only actually hurts you in the long run, because you start to see yourself and you start to think of yourself as someone that does not accomplish what they set out to do. Now, maybe that is what's currently happening in reality, but if we want a new reality, we need to start thinking first those thoughts, which will eventually manifest in different feelings that will create different actions. We've kind of gone through that formula before. So I need you to start thinking of yourself as more of a goal-achieving machine. I want you to think of something that literally is almost robotic in going through the motions, because that's what we're going to teach you here today. And I want to take these things that kind of seem way out there, a little up there in the ether, and pull them back down and actually make them a reality. Because what a lot of us have been taught, I was taught this as well, is it's great to have dreams, but it's, well, maybe they happen, maybe they don't. That's just leaving things up to chance. I mean, what are the odds that you'll achieve your goals? I don't know. Like, literally, I have no idea. And you don't either, if they're just out there. But what we can do is we can take, and we'll start with one specific goal, and we can begin to break that down. Now, in December, this is what I teach, and I want to review this, and we'll try to link back to those previous podcasts on that. But when we're looking at our goals, we want to create a process. And I like the process to be 12, 6, 1, 1. And I'm going to teach you that here today. So I want you to think of your goals as in the macro. A lot of people say, I'm going to set 5-year goals. Fine to have 5-year goals, but set it as more of a vague vision than what you'll actually be doing. Now, some people will get specific because they're very clear in what they want to be doing. That's fine. But who's to say it can't happen in 2 years or 18 months? Does it have to be 5? So that's why I say set a vision for yourself of where you want to go and then begin to move into that. We're going to talk that right now. So I want you to just say whatever your goal is, maybe it's 5 years out, maybe it's a 5-year vision or a 10-year vision for yourself. What is it that you can accomplish in 1 year? So your 1 year might be part of your 5-year vision. Okay, that's really important. So I always felt like, well, one day, like it was always a dream, right? So I had the dream, and I've shared this before, I had a dream that when I was a 19-year-old kid sitting in this alternative medicine practitioner's office, and it was my second appointment, and I was starting to realize that this person held a lot of truths that I didn't know about, and I said, wouldn't it be amazing if I actually got well? And it would be years for that to happen, but wouldn't it be amazing? And then I said, wouldn't it be amazing if I opened a wellness center one day? Now, keep in mind, this is me at 19. I didn't open a wellness center for many, many years to come. I didn't even go back to get my doctoral degree for another, not quite 10 years, but close after that. So we have to look at that these dreams sometimes, and I believe all dreams can become reality, but a lot of times there are steps in between. I would never have opened a wellness center if I didn't become a personal trainer first, or become a nutritionist first and then a personal trainer, and then go on to become a certified strength and conditioning specialist, and then to take various other certifications, because what I was doing was building up my self-image as a practitioner, as someone that could help others, and I was building up my knowledge base, and I was creating wins along the way that I could. No one in my family was a doctor. No one that I knew was a doctor. And so it wasn't a thing that I could see happen unless I started to move towards that path. And then I wouldn't have opened up my wellness center if I had never gone on to consult for over 24 wellness spas, clubs, etc., putting together the systems and the hiring the people and teaching them exactly how to work with people. And then I opened my own fitness and nutrition center. And then that allowed me to then say, okay, now I've created a team, I have a system, I'm helping people. Okay, I can go back to school. Okay, now I work in another multidisciplinary practice. And then I say, I can do this. There's no way I can't do this. I've already done it. This is just a little bit different of a model. I've never done this part before, but I'm helping people now. I already know how to run personal training and nutrition. I know I could do the health coaching with health coaches. I just have to somehow be able to figure out how to do the Ayurvedic Abhyanga massages, the Panchakarma, bring in the sauna, those types of things. And I figured that out, right? Those were all things along the line, but it didn't just happen. I didn't just open up a wellness center one day, and that is a massive goal. That's not even a small one, right? So what I'm saying is if we can take things, at a more doable level. So a more doable level for me was I'm in college and I want to become a personal trainer. Now, in order to do that, you need to get a certification. Well, I don't even know if you do or not, but you should get a certification. You should do it the right way. So what I did was I said, okay, here are the certifications that I could get. This one looks like it's the most applicable to me. It says you need about 3 to 6 months study time. I'm in school at the same time, and I have to also study for school. Why don't I set this to do the majority of my studying during my holiday break in December, and then I can take my test in March of the next year. So that's what I did. I planned 6 months out from September. Basically, that summer, I knew that I wanted to get into it because I found a love of exercise because, as I've told you before, I could not change the inside of my body. I could not get well. But by going to the gym, I could change the exterior. By eating well, I could create a body that at least looked healthy, even though it wasn't on the inside. So that was a true passion, and I planned it out. I planned it out a year before because what happened was I got my certification in the spring, and then that summer I started working as a personal trainer at a local gym. So it's kind of that 1 year out, and that you can do exactly the same, and that's what I want to share with you today. Whatever your goals were last December, did you plan them out? Did you say, hey, what can I do in 1 year to bring me closer to my goals? And another example I always give is if your goal is to lose 60 pounds this year, you want to lose about 1% of your body weight per week. That's what we look at as the average. So if you need to lose 60 pounds, and let's just say that you weigh 200 pounds. Let's keep the math easy for me. I know your weight's going to change each week, but that's about 2 pounds of weight loss per week. And so we know that if we're looking at 2 pounds per week, and if we multiply that by 30, I think we're going to get 60. Again, math on a podcast is not my strong suit. But if we divided that 30 weeks for the terms of months, we're looking at about 7 months, 7.5 months or so to achieve that. So that's the nice thing about longer term goal setting and actually putting it down on paper. You can actually mark out a calendar you have dedicated to your goals. And I gave you some great journals last year that you can do with this. You can do the Freedom Journal by John Lee Dumas. You can do the Ethic Journal by Dave Ruel. Both of those are excellent. There are many others. You can even just print out, like I sometimes do, a blank calendar. And you can go to blank-calendar.com and they'll just give you a one-page calendar. I love that. I keep one for travel. I keep one for other things I'm trying to achieve. And all you can do is just have kind of one 12-month calendar for each. But if you were trying to lose weight, well, you could look at the 12 months and you could say, all right, by the end of January, if you were going from the beginning of the year, I want to be down 8 pounds. And you would just put what your weight's going to be on February 1st. And you would do the same again for February, and then you would do the same again for March, and you would just keep going so that you knew at the end of that month that's what you needed to achieve. And it keeps your mind fixated on it because at least every morning when you wake up and before bed, you're going to look at that goal sheet and you're going to know what you have to achieve. You don't want a 50-page business plan on how you're going to lose weight. You want to keep it simple. You'll have on that 12-month calendar what days of the week that you already have allotted to exercising. Right? You're going to have your meal plan. Maybe you just attach it right to this. You have a nice little just 2-page that this is what I'm going to be doing. And that is your agenda. That's what you're going to try to achieve. Remember, if your goal is important enough to you, you will take the time, albeit not a lot of time, in order to get serious about this. And so that's what I want to go over today. We are 6 months through the year. If you know your goals, are you at the halfway point? Now, for me, I do want to give you a little update. On anything I have for bigger goals, a lot of times they don't happen until the last quarter of the year. It's kind of like, all right, we're not getting there, but we're moving forward. My team and I are always in motion. And then October hits, and then boom, we just literally light years ahead. And looks like it's going to be about the same this year as well. I worked all last year to put together the Integrative Health Practitioner course and certification. And then we launched basically October 1st. And right away, through the gates, hundreds of members signed up. And that was super exciting. Like it just all came together for the last 3 months of the year. And a lot of things that we have going on with Equilibrium Nutrition, it's the same way. I have courses coming this fall. These are accelerator courses that are going to teach people, I believe, for the very first time, how to learn everything that they need to know that's truly important about whatever their dis-ease is of the body, and then how to get well. So I'm just going to lay out the plan. It's just content-based. Like, hey, this is what we can do, this is what we can do, but I'm going to break them up. And they're going to be 20-minute videos or so, and you're going to get about 2 hours to 3 hours of content. And in those 3 hours that you can absolutely consume in one day, you'll be able to watch it and know what to do. Then it's your job, that will be your job, to say, okay, now, how do I want to make this happen? I'm going to follow the blueprint, but when do I want to do it? When do I want to step into this? When am I ready? Because that's all it's going to take. And then you're going to start to implement it, the nutrition list, the exercise list, whatever that is needed for that particular protocol. And I'm going to give you what we do in my practice. Because remember, at this point, I've shared this before. For many, many years, I was doing 20,000 appointments a year. And I told you 3 years ago, my goal one day would be to reach 20,000 people a day rather than a year. And so that's what we've done with the Cabral Concept podcast. And I'm obviously very excited about that. But again, when you look at your goals, that was 3 years. Well, it didn't take us 3 years, but it took us a couple years in the making to get to those 20,000 downloads or more of the Cabral Concept per day. So this is what we're working towards. You need to know your goal. You need to know your why so that when it's not happening that next day, that you continue to push forward. So going back to the weight loss example, if we're 6 months in and you're not already 25 pounds down or so, we need to look at it and just say, or I shouldn't say 25 pounds, 50 pounds down. What's going on? Well, like, why aren't we to those goals yet? I guess it would be more like 45. Again, math on a podcast. But why aren't you there yet? What sidetracked you? And again, don't feel defeated. Don't feel upset. It's okay to be a little upset, but use that to say, all right, I'm going to readjust. I'm going to recommit. I'm going to get back on track. Because here's the thing. Life happens to all of us. Every single one of us. We can't plan every event in our life. We can't plan certain events that we may not like to have happened in our life. And what we need to do, though, is try to get back on track as quickly as possible after we get derailed a bit. So people all the time, they say, you know what, I messed up. I messed up on my 21-day detox. I had a cheat meal or I had a glass of wine when I was out with friends. Did I ruin it? Is it over? The answer is no. You start back that next morning. You get right back on track. Or if you messed up at lunch, all it means is then get back on track for dinner. Don't let the whole day go. If you missed one workout in the week, look at it as an overall big picture. If you're working out 4 times a week, well, that's 200 plus workouts per year. You think one workout's going to matter that much? It won't. It won't. Not in the grand scheme of things. Don't beat yourself up about it, right? Be gentle with yourself. You are the person you need to live with for the rest of your life. Be kind. Be gentle. This is coming from someone who used to beat themselves up all the time. I was harder on myself than anyone else could possibly be. Like my parents did have to say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. Like in terms of like trying to do well in school and do well at sports. They knew that I always was overboard, like, being hard on myself. That eventually burns you out. You can't live like that all the time. It's nice to want to push yourself, but you can't beat yourself up. You're not supposed to be perfect. I realized that now a few years ago, and I'm much happier because of it. I say to myself, I'm always going to do my best. I'm going to never try to let anyone down, and I'm going to do things the right way. But I already know that I'm not perfect and that I'm going to mess up. And the reason why I know that I'm not perfect and mess up is because I am human, but I also just simply do not have all the knowledge that I will get after I may make the mistake and then learn from it and then be able to teach that to myself and others. That's what I try to say to people now is that, they're trying every different book, blueprint, diet, etc. I just say, listen, we can run the lab, or you can just use our 250,000 appointments worth of data to say, we've helped people like you. We know how to get them well. Why can't we do this with you too? So, for me, the first part is this. If you've got off track for your goals, reset, recalibrate, and then let's look at it 2 ways. We can do it 2 ways now. So the first part is, typically I do the 12-6-1-1 method, and I'm looking at it like this. So I'm looking at the 12 months for the year, and then I want to break that down into quarterly goals. So you can look at it as 6 for 6 months of the year, or what I'd rather do is there's a book written on this called the 12-week year, and you break it down into quarters. And so what you say is every 90 days, did you accomplish your goals broken down within those 90 days? So you basically have this big goal for a year. It might be part of even a larger goal. And then what do you do to reach that larger goal for the year every 90 days? Because you want to build off of that. And then within the 90 days, what can you do every month to ensure you hit that goal? And then within every month, you have weeks, and you typically have about 4 weeks. So within those 4 weeks, what do you need to do at the end of this week that will lead you to accomplishing your monthly goal? Because remember, if you accomplish your weekly goal, you'll accomplish your monthly goal. If you accomplish your monthly goal, there's no doubt you'll accomplish your quarterly goal. And if you accomplish all 4 quarters of your goals, well, automatically you're hitting your yearly goal. It really can be that easy. Honestly, it really can be that easy. We just choose to sometimes make things a lot harder for all of us, for ourselves. So what I say is this, you can only do what you can do. Don't come up with ridiculous goals that you need to meet on a weekly basis. And that's why it is nice to create monthly and weekly goals, because you know how much you can do in a week, especially if this is like a side job. A lot of our integrative health practitioners are developing a health coaching-based business. Well, if you're working full-time, whether it's a stay-at-home mom or dad, or whether it's a full-time job, you have a full-time job. So you say, okay, what can I do between these hours? An hour in the morning and an hour at night, maybe an hour during lunch. If I have 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day, what can I do in that period of time over, let's say, 10 hours a week? And you give yourself 10 hours of work. You estimate, but you'll get better at it. And then you do that 10 hours of work. And you say, great, this is typically what I can do in 10 hours. And you come up with that for what you'll do in a month, right? Because you'll be able to break it down to 40 hours for the month. And you say, okay, great, I have 40 hours for the month. I have 120 hours for the quarter. And what can I do in that quarter? And I'm telling you right now, you can accomplish so much. Even if you just give yourself 1 hour a day. I did a podcast on basically, like the missing 50 hours a week or so, right? Like all of those hours that we just kind of let slide away. You have so many more hours than you believe that you do have, but it is partly about prioritizing and deciding like what is most important to me right now. Is it more important to me that I achieve these goals? Because if so, well, then everything else kind of gets put back to the back burner. That would be an extra. So like watching mindless TV or the news or reading magazines or online, whatever it might be, or social media. you'll just cut out 30 minutes a day. And then you'll find one more 30-minute block a day. An hour a day, it's still 20 hours a month. That's a good amount of time. You're going to be able to read a couple books in that time. You're definitely going to be able to study for certification, whatever it is that you're looking to achieve. And again, 20 hours of time in a month for working out, that's fantastic, right? You're looking at 5 hours a week. That's plenty of time to get in great shape. Or it could be used for some meal prep to get ready for what you're going to be eating, what you need to do. So again, I come from the realm of health, fitness, mind, body, etc. Like, I'm pretty boring in that way. I mean, I love it. It's not boring to me, but I can't give you a lot of other examples outside of that field because this is what I live and breathe every day. I want you to come up with your own examples. So now I said I would bring it full circle. Today, 6 months through the year, how close are you to accomplishing your 2019 goals? Because right now you have two options. You can say, well, I'm not going to hit them this year because I've waited too long. Or you can say, you know what? I'm going to double down. I'm going to make sure that I don't let another year slide by. And that's what I want for you. I want you to recommit. And you know what? Maybe it's going to be hard to accomplish a year's worth of goals in 6 months, but I think you can do it. I really do, because I think you're going to look at it from the systems now mindset where I need to now chunk down my goals to 6 months. I need to now say, okay, I don't have quarterly goals anymore. I have direct monthly goals. Every month I need to do this. So what you can do is you can look back to maybe how I did my first personal training certification or nutrition certification, which was some in-person time, but with personal training, you could do it mostly online. So what I said is this, is listen, I know I'm going to be able to do the majority of studying then, but if you're looking at 6 months, you're looking at less, you could say, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dedicate 1 hour a day. 1 hour a day, fantastic. That is 30 times 6. That's 180 hours. That's a lot of hours, and I know that you'll be prepared. Now, even better would be this. If you know that there's an exam in December, what you will do is you will you will sign up for that exam in December. You will pay the money. You will give something to get some skin in the game. Because when you do that, you tell your mind that it's real. That it's real. That's the whole reason why I recommend, listen, if you're committed to losing the weight, hire a personal trainer, even if you only do it for 12 weeks. Don't hire any personal trainer. Hire a person who's serious, that's committed, that is there for you, that will allow you to communicate through email or text or whatever when you need them, like someone who's really dedicated to you. And if you're looking to get well, run a lab or, meet with a health coach, hire someone, get them. Tell your brain and your physiology, which is your nervous system, that you mean business, that you're serious about this, that you're all in, that you fully committed. That's the thing. And that's, people ask me like, oh, well, why do you hire a mentor? Why do you hire a coach? Well, I'm hiring them in different areas to teach me what it is that I need to do, but it also makes me fully commit because I didn't hire them for no reason, right? When I want to do podcasting, I hired a podcast coach. When I'm going to start to be doing video, I don't know that much about video. I really don't. Like, yeah, I can shoot a video with my iPhone camera. That's about it. I can turn on Facebook Live. That's about it. So what I'm going to do is hire someone that knows how to do all of this. And that's what I'm going to do. Now, if you can't afford to hire someone, that's okay as well. What you will do is you will get the guide or the online program or the book. And what you'll do is you will follow that program, right? But you'll commit to it. You'll commit to doing that. There's just less skin in the game, and that's why I say that, unless it's a online certification or something. So that will get you back on track, and that will enable you to make the most of your 2019. Again, you still have 6 months left, just about 6 months left. Don't let it slide by. Don't let another year go by where you're like, well, that year just kind of passed too, maybe next year. Don't let it be maybe next year. You have to shorten the goal, but make something happen. I mean, honestly, I know it's summertime here in the U.S. and a lot of the U.S. and Europe, and I know Australia that it's moving more towards, or it is in your wintertime, but you have to commit. You have to say like, hey, like this is the season that I'm in. This is where I'm at. I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm not going to let it hold me back. Like kids are out of school. There's always going to be an excuse. People say, well, I have a wedding coming up and I have vacation, then I have this. It's always something. Trust me. I've been doing this a long time. There's always something that's going to be there. All you'll do is you'll modify it for that week or those couple days, whatever it is. Something is better than nothing. 90% will always get you to goal. 100% is never needed. 90% is good enough. Not only is it good enough, it's fantastic. And that's what I want you to think. I don't want you to think that you have to be perfect. But I do want you to take whatever your goals are, whatever you wanted to accomplish in 2019, recommit to it. Look at this. Look at your calendar. Get that 12-month calendar. Get the journal, whatever it is. Look at it daily. Break down what you want to accomplish in 6 months. Then take that goal and break it down further over each month for 6 months. And then when you have each month's goal, break down the activities that will be needed to be completed each week in order to achieve the monthly goal. Don't worry about the 6-month goal. There is no 6-month goal. There's 6 mini goals each month. And then each week is what it will take to get to that monthly goal times 4. Now, every day is your opportunity to accomplish that week's goal. My philosophy is this: start strong. Everybody has things come up during the week. Start strong. Do the majority of the work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, when the willpower might be there after the weekend. Get right into it. Dive right into it Monday morning. Every Monday morning is a new chance to commit. It's why I do this Motivation and Mindset Monday. We all need it. I need it. I don't just wait till Mondays, though. Every single day, every single morning is a new chance to remotivate myself, reinvigorate myself with what it is that I'm looking to accomplish. Hopefully today's podcast was helpful. I do appreciate you listening and all of your reviews and all of your shares. And as always, if today's show was helpful, please do feel free to pass it along to anyone else you believe it could serve. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.